Good evening. A tennis champion with a title to defend, a government insisting he is not exempt from rules that foreign visitors have to be vaccinated. A judge in Melbourne will begin hearing the case of Novak Djokovic versus the Australian government in an hour's time. He's trying to avoid being deported, having been held in a hotel since he arrived in Australia 4 days ago. Well, let's go live now to Shaima Khalil at the court in Melbourne. Shaima.
Well, in less than an hour, a judge will hear arguments on both sides. Novak Djokovic's lawyers say he had every reason to believe that he was entitled to enter Australia and take part in the tournament to defend his title. The government says he'd been given no guarantee that his exemption would be accepted. The anger and confusion this has caused continues.
For days, they've been showing their solidarity on the streets of Melbourne. No court appearance for Novak Djokovic, who's still in an immigration detention hotel 6 days after flying in.
Oh, mate, I haven't slept since he's come off the plane. We're all sick to the stomach.
It's a very unfortunate situation for Australia. It's becoming very embarrassing.
The prospect of Djokovic's deportation has sparked a sporting and diplomatic storm. And today, former Wimbledon champion Andy Murray weighed in, saying the row is really not good for tennis at all. The anger continues in his home country of Serbia, with another day of protests in the capital Belgrade and fury from his family. His mother Diana criticized the living conditions where he's being kept.
They locked him up because it is a prison, the place he is in right now. It is not a detention facility, it is a prison. They are not giving him breakfast. He only gets lunch and dinner. For breakfast, nothing.
This was Djokovic arriving on Wednesday. His legal team say he was granted a vaccine exemption from Tennis Australia because he tested positive for COVID-19 on the 16th of December. That was also the day when these pictures were taken, showing the tennis player maskless at a ceremony in Serbia where he was honored with his own postage stamps. It's unclear at which point he took the PCR test and when he knew he had COVID. Djokovic's lawyers have said that on January the 1st, he received a document from the government's Home Affairs Department telling him his travel declaration responses indicated he met the requirements for a quarantine-free arrival into Australia. But in its court submission, released hours before the hearing, the government said it had not given the tennis star an assurance about his vaccine waiver, adding that an email from the Home Affairs Department was not a guarantee that his so-called medical exemption would be accepted. The legal document also challenged Djokovic's claim for a medical exemption on the basis he contracted COVID-19 in mid-December, saying there was no suggestion he had acute major medical illness. Just a week before the Australian Open begins, a judge will now decide whether the 9-time champion will be able to defend his title.
Well, we understand that Tennis Australia have asked the court if they can know by Tuesday whether or not Djokovic will be taking part in the tournament for scheduling reasons, but the judge said the court would not be rushed. So yes, the arguments will be presented in the next few hours, but it's unclear whether we'll get a decision today.
Shaima, thank you very much. Shaima Khalil, our correspondent in